the visuals might be all right, and you wonder why, because let's not underestimate the audience.
That's so true.
Let's not underestimate the audience. Yeah. Let's not use the same libraries. Let's not use the same tracks for the same productions. You know, the audience sees this. You know, there was a series, and somebody on Twitter mentioned this. Like, imagine a scene where somebody's telling you your mom died, and they play a gom song in the background.
Wow. That's literally what happened.
Yeah, like a gom song, no strings, no violin, a gom.
Hi,
and the person who noticed this is probably not in the filmmaking industry, but they notice this. The audience notices it. Let's not underestimate our audience, right? Me as a film composer, you as a filmmaker, you as an actor, as a director, as an exec, they know. Because once you put your stuff out there, it's kind of like the internet, it's out there. Yeah. It's there for people to criticize even 20 years down the line. And if you put out mediocre work, or works where you didn't put in your 120%.
Welcome to the Film Biz Show, where we talk about the business of film, both locally and internationally. Please subscribe, like, comment, and turn on the notification button so you are aware of our future episodes that you will love so much. Now, if you love music and film, then this episode is for you. Today, we're joined by a man who started making music by teaching himself how to make beats off of a Nokia 3310. He then went on to teach himself the basic business tools of how to survive in the music industry and became an all-round better musician. From learning to produce through Fruity Loops to attending business conferences, he eventually landed an exclusive songwriting publishing deal with Sheer and Faith Publishing under Kabelo Mabalane in 2014. He then produced songs such as Malome for Casper Nyovest, Summer 95, Jameson and Sunglasses for Envy. Through all this hard work, he ended up landing a music scoring job with Adze Uga for his projects The Last Fight and The Ground Beneath Her Feet, all on Amazon. This kicked off his music scoring career and has since worked on projects such as Lavish, a SAFTA Best TV Drama winner, and 1802 Love Defies Time. Everyone, give it up for my good friend, Modia Kota. Modia, Shole. Hey, welcome, brother.
Marcus, my brother.
Yeah,
how you doing, man?
All good, all good.
Easy. That was a dope intro. Let's do it again.
Repeat.
Repeat, yeah.
Yeah, no, but yours, you deserve the red carpet, man.
Man.
Yeah, because I've personally walked, or been witness to your journey, from the genesis to you becoming the man that you are at the moment, and it's just so good to see you having done so much in the space, brother. But thank you for agreeing to join us.
Thank you for having me. Thank you to you, your team, and your audience,
yes, sir.
For having me. I'm honored. I'm truly humbled by this.
Yeah,
thank
fantastic.
You so much, man.
I love your shirt, by the way. It looks like a great painting. Do you mind sharing with us?
Oh yeah. This is my grandfather, my late grandfather. And that's baby me right there.
Oh, that's wonderful. Can we can we see that on camera?
Stand up.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah, man.
Lovely, man.
It's my grandfather. I was being baptized this day.
Oh, wow.
Yes. Yeah. One of the few photos I have with him. Passed away when I was really young. And yeah, man, what a legend. What a legend. Through his hard work, here we are.
Here we are, right? And it's good to keep those stories alive, keep going.
Keep memories alive. Keep them close to you, because we are their kids, and who doesn't want to be close with their kids, grandkids, and such. So yeah, I believe in God. I believe in my ancestors, and I believe they're around us at all times. And the same way they carry us, we got to carry them.
That's true. I love what you're doing, though, with that shirt. It's like your own way of telling that story, right? And this is what you do with your music. You tell stories through music. You capture moments, which I think is genius. Not everyone can do that. But I mean, from creating ringtones on your Nokia 3310 to creating beats on Fruity Loops to scoring films and TV shows. I mean, how did the story of Modia start? How did you find yourself where you are today?
Yes, so my start in music, I grew up in a house where there was music playing 70% of the time, from my mom's ABBA, Judy Boucher, and Elton John cassettes to my dad's classical music collections, Bob TV with the music videos, the radio. You learn to be a fan first of music and a music lover and a music appreciator first, right? So my parents have their own individual tastes. I'm a 90s kid, and around that time, my influences were very vast. They went from Michael Jackson, MC Hammer, Notorious B.I.G. So that's R&B, hip hop, to our own South African genre, Kwaito, house, right? That was my own musical taste, which I started appreciating and loving at the time, right? And my dad, who was also a music enthusiast, also had a keyboard in the house, right? Actually, to this day, he still had a keyboard.
I know a keyboard. That's
right?
An organ. That's more like
That's an organ, yeah. So it was like there was a keyboard, there was an organ, just something piano-like, right? So he wasn't a performer. He was more somebody who understood his theory, and during his pastime, participated in choral music competitions and stuff like that. So he would sometimes correct the notes there for the choir at church on Sundays, right? And they kind of saw me, being interested in this organ, banging on the organ, being fascinated by the sound that comes out, right? So what my dad did, he bought me one of these small kiddie pianos, right? Came with a little booklet that teaches kids how to play, the simplest of songs. Mary Had a Little Lamb, Baba, Black Sheep.
Can you play Mary Had a Little Lamb?
I learned the first song I learned how to play was Twinkle Twinkle Little Star.
Okay.
I think that was my favorite at the time, So the keyboard also had like numbers on the keys, right? Yeah. So the C note would be 1, the D would be 2, E would be 3, F 4, G would be 5. So with Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, it would be like 1 1 5 5 6 6 5 4 4 3 3 2 2 1. Right? That's how that's how I learned how to play Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. I think that's the first song that I ever learned how to play, right? And as I grew, hip hop being my favorite genre, I initially wanted to be a rapper.
Oh wow!
Yes, but see,
were you a part of any groups growing up? Any boy groups?
Didn't work out.
Didn't work out. So we had a boy group. Me and my cousins.
No, you had a boy group. I was trying to rap.
No, he was a lead singer. It was called Enigma, and we were trying to follow Boys to Men types of things. But
no,
your interview. Yeah.
I think I failed your R&B group audition.
Yeah,
I think that's what happened.
That's what happened, right?
So you go from being a music fan, a music appreciator, to being interested in, hey, how can I also participate in this? Fast forward to 2003, I'm in matric at that time, and I get a hand-me-down cell phone from my dad, right? The Nokia 3310.
Yeah.
The Nokia 3310, as you might know, has a composer feature, right? And at the time, it was the birth of the ringtone era. Remember, we could buy ringtones from a mobile service. So what you do is there's a little booklet with songs that each have unique codes, right? You send that code to that mobile service and you get your ringtone. Now, at the time as well, South African hip hop was starting to emerge. Bosquara Camp, Bozabs, Ammunition. My favorite song at the time was Squatter Camp Manyisa. And it wasn't in the booklet because the booklet focused on the top 40 songs, your Kylie Minogues, your Britney Spears, and the like. So with my dad's keyboard, I kind of sounded it out, right? and used the Nokia.
But how? Because that song is not very melodic. Oh, get on it. Oh,
No.
Manyisa. Okay, so there's a melody there. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Favorite song to this day,
yes,
right?
Sir, yes, sir.
So I sounded out on the keyboard, and I was actually learning music theory at the same time, because the composer feature, you can kind of link C, you know which one is C, which one is D, which one is E, which one is F, and you can kind of correlate it. So that's how I composed ringtones, from my dad's organ to the Nokia 3310. And one of my best friends, your cousin, heard it, right? And his first question was, dude, where did you get Squatter Kambanyesa, man? I'm like, I didn't buy it, I composed it. He said, okay, so you actually composed the song by... I'm like, yeah. He's like, wow, man, you're actually good. You can be a producer. You can produce our
R&B songs.
Right? But also he mentioned the fact that, hey, look, man, I have a cousin. He has an editing program. We called it an editing program at the time.
Yeah.
Editing program called FL Studio. I'm going to call him. I'm going to get him to give it to you. And you're going to make beats. Yeah. Like kind of deciding my destiny right there. And at the time, I remember I was doing matric. It was mock exam time. And I just want to focus on my studies. I didn't really take it serious because the R&B group failed. The rap failed. I also tried DJing, by the way.
Oh, yes.
Fail. Rotman's July.
Yeah, wow.
So I didn't take it serious. Like, yeah, okay, we'll see. Fast forward to 2004 in May. I'll never forget the day. It was the 13th of May. It was a Thursday. He said, hey, dude, I'm with my cousin at the bus stop. Meet me at the bus stop so he can give you the software in a floppy disk. Right? This is before USBs and Bluetooth. That's when I met you, and we've been cool ever since. You gave me that floppy disk with Fruity Loops inside, right? At the time I was staying with my sister at her.
I remember the flat.
Right? No, Arcadia. Yeah. So she was studying IT. So naturally she has a PC. I installed it on her PC and started messing around with it. And when I tell you, I was hooked from the time I started messing around with it, because it was kind of like staring at your reflection for the first time, right? Because I went from banging on the keyboard with sound coming out and pressing buttons on the software and drum patterns are playing back at me, responding back at me. So this is me. You get, so this is me.
Yeah, for real.
You get, so I was hooked at the time. And for me in tertiary, besides the course that you're studying, everybody kind of
study it.
I studied electrical engineering.
Okay.
I did electrical engineering at TUT. I'll get there.
Okay.
TUT main campus, right? So I figured, like, besides the course that you're studying, you also gotta have, your thing. Some people are in the SRC, some people work at an internet cafe, some people are groovists. I also needed my thing, and making beats on Fruity Loops became my thing. When I wasn't studying, which was a lot of the time, I would be making beats, right? So I did this as a hobby from 2004, 2005, 2006, 2007. I eventually graduated my course in 2008.
Got a doctorate.
Eventually. And I decided at the time, okay, let me get. I was fortunate enough to get a job as an electronic technician. So I'm an electronic technician by trade, and decided, okay, this was a hobby, this was fun. Let me be responsible, be a man, go make a living, right? And for like the next 3 years, so this is 2008, 2009, 2010, I wasn't making that many beats because I was working 9 to 5, right? And in the end of 2010, December 2010, man, I really wanted to leave my workplace. I wasn't enjoying it anymore. And I was kind of feeling myself. I thought, I'm a graduate, I have 3 years experience, which company was going to say no to me? Boy, was I wrong. I think that's when the unemployment thing started in South Africa. I resigned my job. I made a rookie mistake, something that the kids and adults should not do. Quit my job without a solid plan B.
Yeah.
Right. And that whole year, 2011, man, interview after interview, sending CVs after CVs, trying to get, a new job. And it wasn't working out. I think that's where things started pivoting. That's the right word. Right. So it was a very draining time because my savings are running out. I'm not getting proper response. And I think October 2011, I asked myself, okay, so what else am I good at? Right. And I remembered, hey man, I used to make beats. Why don't I go at this full time? And during those 3 years, by the way, 2008, 2009, 2010, I had a new influence of producers. This would be your J Dillers, your Ninth Wonders, your MF Doom, Madlib, the soul samples, the real underground music, And I started making beats again. This time I was sampling like DJ Premier, like those people I just mentioned, right? So with sampling, I started with my favorite songs, my favorite soul songs. This would be the Jackson 5. This would be Marvin Gaye, right? Songs that I knew that, hey man, if I wanted to sample the song, this is how I would do it. And man, during that time, it kind of gave me life again, because I wasn't getting a job. My savings are running out. It's a really depressing time. So I think I decided at the time that, look, I think it might be time to pursue this thing full time because the beats that I've been playing to my friends, they've been asking me, hey, dude, didn't you used to make beats? I'm like, yeah, but I'm working now. So I'm forced now at this time to make a decision. Like, I think I'm gonna pursue this thing full time. And with the advent of social media, your Facebooks, your Twitter, you can actually post some of your stuff online, right? And get a reaction from people, or you can tag maybe people you want to work with. And I also got to work with that thing. I started getting the confidence to put my beats out there and not just play them for my friends. Inboxing people. I attended a lot of music conferences. I was hitting up people in their DMs, especially rappers. I hit up a lot of rappers during 2012, saying, hey, look, this is what I'm doing now. You get. So some of the, all of the rappers were not
responsive.
We're not responsive, right? Yeah. So most of these rappers have somebody who makes a designated
their own music, yeah.
So I thought, nah, man, let me hit up Kwaito artists, right? Because at the time, Kwaito wasn't like a 4-line
anymore.
Yeah. Kwaito artists were actually putting in those 16s, right? So I remember Kabelo Mabalan was one of the guys that I inboxed.
A lyricist of note.
Yes. Yeah. Like a whole Kabelo Mabalan. I hit up. I remember the time I liked Bricks Mabrigado. I liked Tokolo. I liked I like Jabba. I know he can kind of flip-flop into
between the two.
Even Pro Kid.
Yes, sir.
And look, when I inbox Kabelo Mabalan, I mean he's a whole Kabelo Mabalan, Kwaito legend. Right? Look, it's okay, Kabelo. I just assumed you can reply to me after 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Right. In the inbox, I said, "Hi, my name is Modia. I make beats. Can I have your email so I can send beats to you?" You get. He replied 2 hours later. Here, this is my email. Wow. Okay. I sent him some of my emails, and this was
some of your beats.
Yes. When I tell you that he called me later that evening, playing one of my beats in the background. He's like, man, I really like your stuff. I'm doing an album. So the concept of the album was Africa. He was trying to encompass like as many African genres that he can get and make an album out of it. He didn't want to sample Americans anymore. He wanted to get really deep into Africa. The album was Immortal Volume 3, right? So he also asked me, please send me more beats, right? I sent him more beats. I went to his house. I got to meet him, and gave him my beats, right? So along that time, his album changed direction. It was still Africa, but he went for this Afrobeat Fela Kuti type sound. Very beautiful. And I don't think any of my songs would fit into that album. So he said, look, dude, I really like your stuff. I like what you're doing. So because I'm not going to put you on my album, I'm going to give you an exclusive writing publishing deal with his company, Faith Publishing, which was administered by Share Publishing. So he starts a company and Share does all the admin. So basically I liaise with Share, right?
But isn't publishing basically admin?
Yes, it is.
So
It's admin and other things. So in a nutshell, it is the monetization of a music composer's intellectual property, right? So they exploit your works, your creations. Exploit is a very good word in the publishing field. It basically means finding work for your creations and also collecting that money, right? So also at that time, during that year, I met Casper at a Castlelight event. This is a month before his debut album, right? Dr. Beleza is battling.
How was he by then? That Casper?
He could still move around without people flocking him, because that's why I'm like, oh, that's that dude. You know what? I'm gonna approach him and say, hey, hi. My approach is again, hi, my name is Modia. I make beats. I would like to send you some. Please give me your email. If you like it, let's work. If not,
it's all good.
It's all good. Once again, I emailed him. He replied the next day. Wow, dude, your beats are actually dope. So I thought I could, also squeezing into his debut album. But at the time, it was already late. Everything was already set in stone, right? So, and this is leading up to Malome, by the way.
Malome being the song that you made?
Yes.
Okay.
So during this time, networking conferences, I'm learning how to network. I'm making more songs. I'm finding more samples. I had a tagline called "Crate Minds Think Alike." From
this crates, from
crate, yes.
Digging crates.
Yes, from the Great Minds Think Alike. Yeah. So it's like the concept was I would dig into the same crates digitally, into the same crates as what DJ Premier and Ninth Wonder, Kanye West. But what I would do, I wouldn't sample the part that they sample. I would try and find another section of the song that I can sample. If I don't find something, I would find something in that same album that they sampled, right? So, but I kind of got tired of it, right? And what I wanted to do with Malome is sample an African song that there wasn't like your weekend specials or whatever. It was like a real gem that nobody that influences me has touched. Born Ninth Wonder or whoever, Ammunition, Infa. I wanted to find a sample that I can say I planted the flag on this moon.
Oh man, I remember the morning you sent me that beat. You sent me that beat. You're like, oh, can you try putting something on this? I was like, there's no way I can. This is so good. Like that song was so. Yeah. That beat was so complete, And
dog,
man.
Oh, by the way, I'm also attending a music business course
at the same time.
At the same time, at the Academy of Sound Engineering in Auckland Park.
Sure.
At the SABC studios, right? It was called the Music Business Masterclass.
Yeah.
Course by Nick Matsoukas.
Yeah.
Right. So yes, back to the song Malome. It was also influenced by, remember when Josie did that whole Mbatlanga
yes, I remember that
sample?
Yeah. It's got those crazy guitar.
Exactly. DJ Black Coffee also had a song called Watulanje.
Yes, with Victor Ntoni.
With Victor Ntoni. Yeah. That's a very rare sample. So I wanted to find something like that. And at the time, I had graduated from from Nokia 3310 to BlackBerry.
Well done.
Thank you.
BBM,
Right?
yeah.
BBM, BIS. Remember BlackBerry Internet Service? You could
That's
pay
it.
$60,
My
and you
gosh.
could download as much
Yeah.
music and
I remember that.
that you want. So I could download songs the whole day, right? It was very difficult to find portals where you can find these African gems, right? But I kept searching. I remember I found a compilation with Victor Antoni on it, by the way, and other artists. And in that compilation is where I found the sample for Malome. In 2015, I hooked up with another guy called Mlu, who wanted to manage me. And Mlu is the one who introduced me to Envy. And another rap group called Fred Pack, these boys from the Val. With Fred Pack, their song was my first song that got radio airplay, playlisted on YFM, right? It was also featured on the Hype magazine CD, right? So he introduces my beats to Envy. Envy loves it. Jamison and Sunglasses, by the way, is from 2013.
My goodness.
Right? Fred Pack, F Whoever is also from 2013. I think it came out June 2014, right? So I'm still waiting for the whole Mahatela Queens sample collaboration. And it happened, I think 2 months before the Fill Up the Dome thing, right? So what they did is they made I don't want to say remix, but they made their song, which was more trappier, more palatable to the market at the time, which is what you hear from my song. And that's when I started getting my royalties from Samro and stuff like that. Yeah, so that's how I
Powerful, man.
I went from Nokia 3310
to that space.
Yes.
Now, when we come to the side of film composing, now we get the process. You know, you chop it up with the beats, you listen to a sample, you lace it. But like, you know, what does film composing entail as opposed to making a song for, you know, a musician? Like, what's your step-by-step approach to the actual process of a new project when you are composing for a film?
So with film composing, a filmmaker will make a film or a TV show, right, with a certain type of music in his mind, right? So with film composing, what you actually do is you heighten or add color to what's happening in the scene, right? So it's not like making music where it's your own idea and you putting out what you wanna put out to the world. It's actually you taking directions from the director or executive. You will be briefed on which sound they would like if they trust your composition. That has been my approach to every music gig, music scoring gig. Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Now you produced music for 2 films on Amazon for director Adze Uga. What was the process in approaching that, you know, the music composition for these films? Same kind of way where you get a brief and he gives you an idea? Because I saw those films, they were very niche, you know, very art films. How did you approach that process?
So in 2018, just to give you a backstory, I'm getting more into the film and TV world, right?
Yeah.
After the success of Malome, I got introduced to what's called the TV brief. And this is basically a company giving you an ad for, say, 30 seconds, and they say, we need music for 30 seconds, and here's a fee, and the deadline is in 3 days, right? So I started doing mock trailers, mock adverts on my social media, you know, to let people know what my music and their vision can lead to if we collaborate. So at the time, I don't think there was much of a brief when it comes to both those films because the deadline was very tight. Usually you do get a brief, But if the director trusts you and you put your scores on that film and he likes it, it's a go. So with me, I actually used a lot of cinematic music, especially for the last fight. It was an action movie, and the cinematic tension building music is kind of like my wheelhouse, right? So my approach was, I'm gonna make like the most tension building, gritty music, because it's an action film for the first movie, The Last Fight. The second movie was actually more calmer, like it's one of those three people, one location.
This one was with Zamani Mbata, Carbonina.
Yes, Carbonina
and Cindy, right?
Nunu Khumalo.
Nunu Khumalo, yes.
I think they classify it as a drama.
Yeah. Black and white.
Black and white. I think they call it psycho thriller. I'm not sure if that's the genre.
Sure.
But it was much more lighter than the action and the
But I'm
tension.
sure in some moments you don't even have to play like a chord, right? You don't have to. Sometimes you can just play like a sound.
Yes. So that's the thing. That's the thing with film scoring. Film scoring is heightening sound with what's happening. With heightening what's happening on the screen with sound. People think it's just 60-piece orchestra all the time.
No.
You can whistle and that can be the score.
Yeah.
Right.
Or you could tap.
You could tap. You could make ambient sounds.
Yeah.
If the producer says, I want string and it must be one note, that's your brief. That's the brief that you follow. So I think they had seen what I can do on my mock trailers, and they trusted me. They kind of gave me a blank canvas, like, dude, just do you, and then we'll give you guidelines here and there, right? By the way, I scored both of these movies in a period of 7 days.
My goodness.
Yeah.
Lots of coffee you must have taken there.
Yeah.
Didn't sleep much, did you?
Didn't sleep much at all, man. Sacrificed a lot. Like, I'm not going there. I'm gonna,
That's why you weren't picking up my calls, huh?
That's why I wasn't picking up anybody's calls. Like, look, go away. Busy.
That's good.
So I did both those movies in 7 days, right? And he said, he sent me a contract. I signed the contract. There was a nice fee attached to it. And it was basically up to Amazon Prime to approve it.
Yes, sir.
Before we can get Chankura and all of that. And May 2022, I think that you remember that long holiday, 27 April, 1 May, that's when the movie came out. So I did the scoring in Feb 2022, and the movie came out 27. I discovered it 27th April during that long weekend.
It's fantastic, man. But now looking at other film industries, there's a huge demand for movie and TV soundtracks to a point where they actually release albums like we used to do with Izo and the likes. Kendrick Lamar did it for Black Panther, Beyonce for Lion King, Lord compiled the album for Hunger Games. Why do you think there isn't a demand for such locally, or we aren't releasing them as we used to locally? And do you feel it's an important factor missing in our industry?
Yes, because we used to.
Yeah, we used to.
If you remember.
Yeah, definitely.
Izo had a soundtrack.
Ooh, that's what launched Zola Seven's
Zola
career.
And I think Bamunishin.
Yes, Lee Israel. We didn't know he was slick on the mic.
Yes, Bo Ishmael doing gospel and stuff. I think actually because Linda, what happened to the soundtrack?
Yeah.
What actually happened to the soundtrack? Because Lona was an important factor next to film scoring. So film scoring and soundtracks are not the same thing. Like you said, they can trust an artist like Kendrick Lamar to find people that can tell the story via music, right? Not just film score. They have a film score composer, but they trust Kendrick Lamar or Beyonce to find artists that can tell a story in music, right? So they are also briefed, right? And
so they basically curate the album.
Yes.
To kind of touch on the themes of the film.
Exactly.
Okay.
Right. And I feel that is a missing factor, because I think what most filmmakers started doing is actually getting popular songs which had nothing to do with the movie as sometimes film score, as like the music that plays in the movie instead of having a film composer and a soundtrack. I think that's what happened to the death of the soundtrack, right?
Okay.
And it kind of takes away from the art form. A popular song is a popular song. Your story is your story. If you want to put the song in the movie, yes, you can sing it and place it in the movie. But I think it's important to also have a soundtrack.
Yeah.
So
I'm seeing with a production company locally that's really investing in maybe in the scoring side, not so much.
a production company.
Yeah, it's Black Brain. Black Brain is really putting a lot of their resources into,
Is it?
I mean, you remember with lockdown, there was that lady who was singing almost like she's crying.
Oh
You know,
yeah,
they really kind of invest in that audio aesthetic.
a cappella, and she
You know,
sing a cappella,
But funny that the tracks aren't released as a collection of music. I guess maybe perhaps it could be that, with the streaming services now, it's not so much as a lucrative, financial stream, to take out the album. And I guess maybe it's good for PR.
You know what it is?
Yeah.
It's the agreements with those songs, the type of agreement they have with those songs.
Okay, makes sense.
If I make a film score, I don't think any of those songs are going to get commercialized
Okay, cool.
or released.
That's true.
It's the score of the movie, right? Rarely do you get them commercialized. That's why they have the soundtrack. We'll commercialize the soundtrack. We'll get people to buy the soundtrack, the CDs. And I think also the death of the soundtrack could have been also because of the death of the CD.
Yeah. So now, after the success of these two films on Amazon, comes an opportunity, of a lifetime.
Of a lifetime.
For you now to work with Hella Productions.
Hella Media.
Hella Media.
Yes.
Hella Media. What was the first project you did with them? It's Lavish, I believe, which won numerous awards.
Yes, at the South.
Just let us know how you got to meet them.
Yeah, so following the success of those two movies, I was recommended to Hella Media as a film score composer, and this is where I was actually briefed on the type of music that they wanted. It was a dramedy, right? So this is quirky music, right? Light-hearted music. Also in the brief was they said they wanted quirky music. They were gonna be moments of actual drama, and they wanted to wrap it up with a nice South African flavor, right? And at the time, you remember, piano was bubbling. So my brief for Lavish was all of those genres combined. Lavish started on the 4th of November 2022, a 13-episode drama series by Hella Media. My first TV job ever, right? Yeah.
Fantastic. With that success, then it rolled into 1802, which is
another Hella Media production.
Yeah, but that one is all about like different time zones and timelines.
Yeah.
Now, how do you sort that out as a composer? Because the sound of the modern era is different to the sound that you kind of play in the period.
Understanding the brief. You have to understand the brief, number one. Because most of the time, executive producers, directors don't know much about music theory. They're going to throw words at you. And you have to learn how to play word association games with the type of sound that they want, right? So at first, when I pitched for 1802, they told me, no, Modia, this is very generic. It's great, but it's very generic. This is a Xhosa love story, and we're actually looking for more indigenous type sound. So I collaborated with a guy called Luyolo Lenga. So he is a teacher for those indigenous Xhosa instruments, the uhadi, the ustolotolo, and the like. So I also found out that he's an artist, right? So I asked him, can you give me samples of stuff that you are not using, right? I then took some of the samples of the first pitch of sounds that I sent and mixed it with some of his Uhadi sounds. So what I do is the Uhadi or indigenous sounds will be the foundation of the song. And whatever I add follows that, right? Because it kind of plays into the story, right? It's a period piece between two centuries, the 1800s and 2023, right? So you have the Uhadi that represents the 1800s, and you have modern scoring, which represents 2023, and you mix it all together.
Oh man, you did a phenomenal job.
So
man.
once I found that formula, they liked it, and once I found the formula, I can make plenty of tracks for the formula. It's all about understanding the brief. It's all about finding the formula that the director and the executives can be happy with. Once they're happy with, it's a go. You start working.
It's a balancing act.
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
interesting. But now, I guess the question I'd like to ask you as a film composer is, firstly, do you think that your craft is being respected enough in the industry? And secondly, what changes would you like to see in this business with regards to what you do?
Look, it's a yes and no, right? There are people who really do value musicians, who value the work that the musicians do in their films. And there are people that can take a laissez-faire approach when it comes to music. You know, they might spend the budget on everything, and then leave tiny much to music. You get. And there are people that actually pay you your worth when it comes to music. So it's
balancing.
It's like that, you know. If you're lucky enough to find people that do value music, please do give them your 100% as a film composer. If not, if you find people that do not value music as much, use that as an opportunity to get your stuff out, right? And sorry, what was your second question again?
Just what you
what changes would I like to see?
Yeah, what do you envision for this industry, space?
Look, man, there's a lot of money in sync, in songs that are used for adverts by brands. I would like to see more money staying in the country. What I mean by that is more local songs being synced for our brands instead of international songs. Yes, we love these international songs, but every time they sync an international song, money leaves the country.
That's true.
Right? When we have composers in the country who are willing to work and could take a fraction of what that international song is.
I remember not too long ago, I saw a soap brand, not like literally, maybe last year. They had synced Pharrell's Because I'm Happy.
And we all love the song.
But like, it's like, whoa, how long have you been syncing? This song is like 10 years old, and you're still syncing the same song, you know? Isn't there music that represents a lighthearted kind of, feel? And when you hear it, you're like, sure, I've heard this on Vodacom, I've heard this on every single ad, and someone says, let me think of a new idea. Ding, there we go. I'm Happy by Pharrell. That's a new, so,
so changes that I would like to see when it comes to our space. That's the thing, like relying on people like Pharrell and, the same music libraries when the actual music composers on the rise. One story that inspires me is the story of Black Panther, the director and the music composer. They were actually roommates at some point while they were still grinding. So they have been working together up until Black Panther, even beyond Black Panther, to now they're winning Oscars and stuff. So filmmakers, I would dare them to check the emails, check the guys who are actually sending emails, trying to work with you. You might find somebody who's willing to break their back for you, for your vision. And you can actually grow with them. And by the time they blow up, you get first preference to their
work.
And this goes for everybody else works in post, the makeup artist, the cast and crew, you might find somebody who's willing to break that back for you instead of taking the safe chance by getting a popular song or
I think also the problem is as creators and filmmakers that we tend to, and which is natural, I guess, as artists, we are lone rangers, but you know, this business that we're in, this craft is a highly collaborative one.
Exactly.
And it demands of you to respect, you know, the crafts of your peer and your colleague.
Yes.
So once you think, oh no, all there is to write this and scheduling it and you forget there's actually a person who's born
for this,
for makeup. There's a person who's born for the music. So the kind of passion and spiritual energy you're infusing in your craft, the other person is doing it as well. But as soon as you say, no, all the budget goes to this.
Yes.
Oh, well, music, this gets of it, then you're going to have a project that's not well balanced.
Yes.
And everything.
The visuals might be all right. And you wonder why, because let's not underestimate the audience.
That's so true.
Let's not underestimate the audience. Yeah. Let's not use the same libraries. Let's not use the same tracks for the same productions. Yeah. You know, the audience sees this. You know, there was a series, and somebody on Twitter mentioned this. Like, imagine a scene where somebody's telling you your mom died, and they play a gom song in the background.
Wow. That's literally what happened.
Yeah, like a gom song, no strings, no violin, a gom. Hi, and the person who noticed this is probably not in the filmmaking industry, but they notice this. The audience notices it. Let's not underestimate our audience, right? Me as a film composer, you as a filmmaker, you as an actor, as a director, as an exec, they know. Because once you put your stuff out there, it's kind of like the internet, it's out there. Yeah. It's there for people to criticize even 20 years down the line. And if you put out mediocre work or, you know, works where you didn't put in your 120%,
that's what they're gonna
it's gonna show.
Yes, that's true. So now with your transition from making music for, you know, musicians and singers, rappers, to now making music, composing for film, I mean, it's almost like the music becomes an extra character, you know, in the process. But and I'm assuming that's the one major factor, right? It's like this is a whole body on its own.
People forget it's a character, not something that you do after everything is wrapped.
That's true, right? It's a part of it.
It's a part of it.
And now there is like a whole generation of young beat makers, you know, young kids now, they're even starting younger, who are in the space. And sometimes when we look at some of these micro budget, you know, TV films, you get so frustrated because you can feel there's that element that's missing. Do you feel there's a space in especially these micro budget TV films to funnel these kids who are mostly unemployed, sitting in the townships, making amazing music, to kind of bring them in this process?
Yes.
What do you think about that?
There's always a space for producers. First of all, there's always a space for producers. And when it comes to that, I guess from filmmakers and these young up-and-coming music composers, it's a two-way thing. First of all, I'm going to start with the young music composers, right? They have to expand the horizon beyond their favorite genre of music. So do not be a one-track pony. Get as many influences as you can, right? Be interested in the music first before you make it. Before I started making cinematic music, I was interested in it first. Before I started making beats, I was interested in the piano, right? So they have to expand the listening ear, first of all, and appreciate that, right? And then challenge themselves to make those type of songs, right? That plays into putting yourself in a position where you can be heard by filmmakers and people that can use such music.
But you see, my thing, and I'm, apologies for interjecting, but my thing is I usually find that artists create from a point where they can reflect their society, right? Like they reflect the culture, they reflect what is around them. So you find this kid is from Tembisa, and the music he's hearing in this era is piano. You know, that's what he emulates and that's what he does so well. And I know, and I mean, I have a friend who he asked me to mentor his son. His son is a beat maker.
Piano.
He says, take him out of this
Piano
whole
thing.
piano thing and try, you know, and I introduced him to one of the musicians from Little Dragon, which is based in Sweden. And they could jam a bit, and he tried to get this kid out of that mold. But now, the thing is, don't you think this should be more institutionalized, where you find the commissioning editors would say, look, even if it's just a 0.1% of our budgets, but we're going to make sure every single show incorporates a young beat maker or producer from these townships. And we can also have, you know, we can have some courses just training, you know, classes. How do you break away from, or how do you, you know, kind of pivot from just reflecting what's around you melodically to doing it as a film scorer?
So look, music in a nutshell is what feelings sound like, right? Let's forget the genre for a bit. In piano, you do get more sad songs and stuff like that. That's them expressing their sadness. If he's reflecting, if he's expressing what's happening around his head, that's not good. That's still him expressing it. Like I said, they need to express themselves in other genres, experiment, expressing themselves in other genres, experiment in rock, experiment in cinematic music, experiment in opera music if you can go that far, right? It's basically your feeling expressed. So regardless of the genre, the feeling is the thing that sticks, right? You play a certain type of song when you're feeling down, you play a certain song when you're feeling happy, right? Forget the genres for a bit, right? So if you learn how to express pain through a piano, you can express pain in a rock song, in a cinematic music song, with a guitar, you know, with a cappella, right? So, but what I actually seen from the filmmaker side, and I like this, some of them have scoring competitions, right? Especially people that have their own productions, they'll give you a 5-minute clip and say, hey, look, we are looking for the next film composer. Here's a clip, download it on this link, and send us a 5-minute composition of how you see the scene unfolding. Express yourself, heighten the scene with your music. And the winner might get maybe an opportunity to score on their productions. So some filmmakers are doing that. And if they continue doing that, we are going to find the next and the next and the next and the next and the next until this thing really becomes a thing. Instead of there's Modia here and there, there's so-and-so here and there, there's libraries here and there. You get, because I don't think they know about the film scoring space and what it entails, right? So when I said that they need to put themselves in a position where they can be considered, conferences are being held all over, teaching people about film scoring, teaching people about publishing, teaching people about, you know, the music business side. And sometimes you do have panelists where it's directors, it's people, it's line producers, people that can get you in that position, right? So use those conferences as networking for networking purposes. And from there, I think we really can have a whole movement of filmmakers collaborating with young filmmakers. I actually don't see anything going wrong with that.
Awesome.
Yeah, if they could create a whole genre called piano, that's worldwide by now, right? Worldwide by now. What's stopping us from getting more filmmakers that really actually understand the craft, the business, and what the brief entails? So yeah, It's about challenging yourself, learning how to express yourself, and putting yourself in a proper position to be considered.
Okay. So now, Modia, now we're going into the more fun part of the show, which is the game segment. So this one is called Fill in the Blanks. Basically, I give you an incomplete statement and you complete it however you want. Simple, okay? We just want to see how creative, how your creative mind works.
Okay.
So no right or wrong answers, don't worry, okay? Just
0.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. First one. The most challenging aspect of music production for me is
finding titles for new songs.
Oh,
yeah.
That's simple.
No, it is not. There's only a certain amount of times where you can use the what. You kind of have to find. It's actually something fun that I've been doing for myself. Sometimes I would pick a theme. For example, I can't think what I did last time. These mythological beasts, Greek mythological beasts like the Calidor, boar, and stuff like that. I titled my songs after that because I've ran out of titles. I've been making beats for like 20 years now, finding titles for new songs.
That's hectic.
That is, and titles that go together because right now I make themed package songs like come in a package of 10 songs. Finding titles for songs that actually go together. Yeah, so believe it or not,
it's tough.
That and my laptop slowing down. Otherwise it's fun, man.
Sounds like this problem of naming songs is the same one commissioning editors struggle with.
Yes,
because we sing a lot of
the rails, the heist,
the a, the how, the ho. Hey, come on.
There's only a number. So for me, it's finding titles for new songs.
Interesting. Okay. My ultimate dream collaboration would be with
only one.
Oh well, you can. Make it two.
Dog. Quincy Jones.
Yeah.
And I really want to be the third Neptune. I want to be the third Neptune. I'm putting it out there. Yes, Pharrell, Chad Hugo. Gosh damn, bro. And there's a bunch of others, but I think with them, I do so much influence from them. So Quincy, man, even if I have to just get a sit down with Quincy.
Sure. You don't have much time though. The man is getting old. So
everybody's made Quincy. Not there.
Okay. When I'm seeking inspiration, I often turn to
spending time with family, friends, getting out, getting inspired by life again.
Yes, sir.
Because that's where the feelings come from. That way you can go back to your laptop and pour out all these expressions that you've encountered as you. So I would generally spend time with family, friends, people that I'm close to. Get out more because producing it involves being remote in one place in a room. So I like reconnecting with friends, reconnecting with family, and also listening to more music that I didn't make. Like being inspired by music again. My favorite genres, so trying to find new genres, trying to find especially the old school stuff. The old school stuff inspires me more than the newer stuff.
Wonderful, man. If I weren't in the music and film industry, I'd probably be
an electronic engineer.
Oh wow, that sounds like lots of fun.
Yeah, I probably would have furthered my studies. I probably would have furthered my studies and
yeah, because you even went to a technical high school.
I went to a technical high school, so naturally electrical engineering was the next thing, right? So I probably would have furthered my studies and advanced in the electronic field.
If my life were a movie genre, it would be a mix of and a sprinkle of
I don't want to say dark comedy because that's but it would be
dark comedy.
a dramatic dark comedy. With a sprinkle of what? I don't know. The sprinkle of action, yeah.
A sprinkle of action, yeah, sure, yeah.
Yeah, just an explosion here and there.
Just, Hollywood it up, blow up a plane.
Yeah, just blow up something. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, just man, I think it would be a drama, man. Like most of my favorite movies are autobios, biopic, the Ray Charles movies, be a drama, exploring the inner goings of my minds and my experiences, and things like that.
Wonderful, man. I will only work on a project if
they do value music, if they have a contract, an agreement in the sense, and if they like my music, if they trust my compositions, if they want to work with me, you can kind of actually see if somebody wants to work with you, or if they just found you, somewhere like, okay, so I'll try you out. If they want to work with me, if they give me back that energy as well. If we actually sit down and have a conversation first and kind of get to know each other and build a relationship, I can kind of draw energy from them. Besides the fee and all of that, the contract, when you get an energy from somebody, that's what I'm going to pour into the music that goes into the project. Yeah.
Wonderful. The future of the South African film and television industry is?
It can get there. It can get there if we... I know that's wrong grammar, but I think we can get there if we put in 120% from everybody, not just film composers or filmmakers, everybody. If everybody puts in 120% and doesn't underestimate the audience, I think we can really go places. We have a lot of stories. We have 11 official languages. We can tell stories in 11 official languages and different kind of stories as well. So if we really put in some work, we can really go there, boy. We can really go there.
And not only that, but we're also a mouthpiece for other African countries as well. So
we can, for example, which other country has 11 official languages, has nationals from neighboring countries, and our Ethiopian and Pakistani friends living in the same 9 provinces. The stories that you could tell from there, you get. We can tell a lot of stories. We can tell a lot of stories.
Yeah, definitely. I'll go in there. Here's one. Plus equals success.
I know this one.
No right or wrong, don't worry.
Opportunity and hard work.
Yes, sir.
Equals success.
Cool. Last one. If you could have scored a movie that already exists, which movie would it have been? Basically, what's your favorite scored movie of all time?
Can I give you my top 5 though?
Yes, sir.
My top 5. I think we know. Let me answer that question first and I'll give you my top 5. And it's actually my top 5. Scarface.
Oh man, you just pulled out the classic.
Scarface.
I was thinking about the guy last night.
Let me say it with my chest. Scarface. Yes.
Man. Never see a bad guy like me.
You should never see a bad guy like me, man. Let me tell you. Okay?
The Don.
Hey, Sandra Sora. She wanna eat ice cream with my friend and me?
Look at her.
Puro, man. Like that.
Yeah.
I think I've watched it like 500 times. In no particular order.
Sorry, man. Before you move on, you remember that they've got this melody, especially
Ting.
yeah,
Dude.
that's iconic.
The guitar.
Yeah.
Man. I would like to score it using those sounds
Okay.
of yesteryear.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I would really like to do it. Not with the modern sound.
Why don't you chop some of the sounds from there and make some beats, man?
Sample clearance.
Yes,
because
that's a big problem,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, you got share publishing not cleared for you. Don't worry, you'll be fine.
Yeah, but woo,
Just joking.
how much is Scarface gonna take from that?
Hey.
Don't even want that. I want it all.
Yeah. Oh man, what a crazy character. Love.
Right.
I
So,
love mafia movies.
like Leonard, it was based on a true story, I think.
Yeah.
And it was also, I think, a remake or an adaptation, right? So most of the movies that are like my top 5 are
Biographical.
right? So Scarface,
Yeah.
Training Day,
Oh yeah.
the Malcolm X movie,
Boom.
the Ray Charles movie, Pursuit of Happiness.
Oh wow, man.
Yeah.
Love your taste.
Yeah.
Love your taste. Well, Modia, we've come to the tail end of our show. We just want to thank you so much.
Thank you.
For gracing us with your presence. It's been a fun interview, lighthearted, very
much.
insightful. Now we know the spirit that goes into the craft of film composing and beat making. We wish you the very best on your journey. We know that the best is still yet to come. You're a man who's dedicated to your craft. I've seen you work, put tireless amounts of hours, and today as a team from the Film Biz Show, we say salute and we give you your flowers and may you raise the flag high. I receive my good sir. I like what you guys are doing too. I think it's very important. You are educating and entertaining at the same time, you know. Yeah, I like what you're doing, and I think people are gonna bump in your channel and find something that they can use. So yeah, man, thank you so much. You're very kind words, and I receive from your lips to God's yes. Amen. Guys, he receives.
I receive.
But
I'm not gonna call you Papa.
No. We'd like to say thank you to Fortune Well, as well as the Dynamic Workspaces and the Magic Lightbox Company for sponsoring this episode.